Okay, we are live. Hello, everybody. This is Gene Pimentel, and I have a real treat for you today. I have a friend with me, Adam Nolan, who has a wonderful program that he's just developed, or he's been developing, and now he's going to be releasing it real soon. I'm super excited about it because it's a system that I've used myself several times in the past with great results. This is one of the most stable businesses that I've been involved with. So let me introduce my friend Adam. Adam, how are you?
I'm fantastic, Gene. Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you. So, Adam, tell me. Let's get a little background about yourself first.
Sure thing. Well, I started out I wasn't always in marketing. I started out in finance back in 2008, right before the stock market crashed, and then things went south very, very quickly for people in the finance market,
Yeah.
and had to find a way to make money again. And I started studying business and more business psychology and influence and all that great stuff that goes into marketing, and I got pretty good at it. I started helping out businesses around my area. Instead of helping them with finance, I was helping them with marketing, and I had quite a bit of a knack for it. So instead of finding that was taking up a lot of time, I started releasing products and courses, and my books have been downloaded over 250,000 times now, and I've
Wow.
had somewhere 20 to 30,000 people attend my presentations. So
Excellent.
that's how I got into this marketing world.
Excellent. Excellent. So, how long have you been doing this particular system, the passive print system?
Sure. Well, it's funny because it wasn't always called the passive print system. The idea behind the business is a low ticket recurring model. And I've
Right.
always been fascinated with that. So I actually started out testing the model about 3.5 years ago with literally a $1 per day payment just to try it out to see if it worked. And that stuck. And then the idea evolved from there. But in a nutshell, I kind of went from when I was working in the finance world after the stock market crash, things were not going so well. I was pretty tight for money, and basically I ended up building up the business back up again. But the problem was I was working incredibly long hours doing that, and I was working kind of the typical entrepreneur job, the 80-hour weeks, and discovering this system, kind of falling backwards into the system, freed me up from a whole lot of stress, a whole lot of time, having to work those 80-hour work weeks. But the nice thing is it provided the same type of stability as having a regular paycheck.
Right. Yeah. That's the beauty of what we're going to be, what Adam's going to be describing with this program is it's such a stable business because it's a business model that revolves around a type of membership. It's a membership site type situation where you generate income, but it's not like your typical internet marketing membership system because it relies on small payments that people can easily afford, and they'll just stay with the program for as long as you provide excellent information. So that creates stability. When you have many people giving you small amounts, it's a much more stable situation than a few people giving you big amounts. What can you elaborate on that?
Well, just that it follows a very similar business model to Netflix. And the way I originally discovered this was like I mentioned, I was working, 80-hour work weeks as an entrepreneur. I was helping businesses out with their marketing and their consulting and all that great stuff. And the way I discovered this was deciding to be fiscally responsible after going through this huge hectic commotion with business. And I sat down and I went over my numbers, and I realized that I was paying somewhere in the area of $500 every single month for these tiny little recurring charges that were, $5 for a newsletter subscription, or $8 for Netflix, or $15 for some piece of software that I was still getting a ton of value from, but I wasn't necessarily using every month. And I was frustrated. I got mad at myself for not paying attention to this. And it dawned on me as I'm sitting there, it was like, the light bulb went off above my head, like, holy cow, these payments aren't just disappearing into thin air. There's somebody else receiving these payments on the other end, and I guarantee I'm not the only person sending out these payments. I bet this person on the other end is getting hundreds, if not thousands of payments from people just like me. So I had this revelation, like, holy cow. Here I am going out working 80-hour work weeks, and this guy, this genius, is just sitting here collecting payments every single month. And based on that revelation, I restructured my entire business. I stopped doing consulting work. I stopped doing, for the most part, really, big launch style stuff. Not most of my income now is derived from these low-ticket, small newsletters, these small products, just because of how incredibly reliable they are.
That's super fantastic, and it's exciting to me because I know the system works. I've done it many times myself in the past, not through your particular system, but small revenue-generating systems that many people paying you small amounts, and you provide real service for those small amounts, more than they're paying. So they stick with it, and it's a stable, recurring monthly income that is just a godsend.
Well, something interesting happened actually, and kind of while we're in passing here, my girlfriend Roxanne, you know her.
Yeah.
So they're doing some big shifts at her work recently, and her job is fine, but there are a lot of coworkers who have their job on the line right now, and she's coming home telling me that they're terrified, they have no idea what they're going to do. They have car payments, mortgage payments, all that stuff, and I got to thinking, well, people start up businesses, and I've got friends that are entrepreneurs, or not friends that are working in 9 to 5, and they say, "How could you possibly start up a business? It's so risky. How could you give up your 9 to 5 job? How could you give up that stable payment?" And then I hear horror stories, from Roxanne, of people who is literally one person who controls your income. If you have a boss that can go up to you and say, "That's it. I'm sorry, we're going to have to let you go," then there's nothing you can do. So the really beautiful thing, for me anyway, with this business, especially after going through the stock market crash, having to deal with people that went through that, is the stability behind this. If you make $105 payments, or you get $105 payments this month, odds are you're going to get $105 payments next month and the month after that. So it's really, really stable going forward.
The thing that sets this business apart from all other internet marketing businesses that I've been involved with, it's the fact that you do the work once and you reap the rewards month after month after month. And you're providing such value for such small payments, but you're collecting a lot of small payments. So it creates stability, something you can rely on month after month, and people love you for it because you're providing excellent information. So.
Yeah. And the other thing to point out too is that, people get into this online marketing, the internet marketing lifestyle, and they see guys do big product launches, and I made $1 million, and you get this mentality, this hero worship mentality of people being incredibly successful and making millions of dollars, but you don't need that kind of money in order to be happy. And in fact, most people don't want the $1 million. They want the lifestyle that the $1 million buys. And
Right.
You can get that making $3,000 to $5,000 a month when you have all the time in the world, and you're location and time independent. So you get that type of lifestyle without having to have that crazy income. It makes it much more attainable.
Sure, and it's highly duplicatable. You do the process once, you can repeat it in another industry, repeat it many times. And you do the work once, you establish it, and now you have a recurring monthly income. And it's a wonderful thing that nobody can take away from you. No boss can take it away from you.
Yeah, it's yours.
It's yours, and it's reliable. That's the beauty of this. It's not like you're doing a mailing and you hope that somebody will respond to your offer. This is, once you establish your base, it's a reliable business.
Yep. Most businesses, when they sell stuff, they sell something once, they get paid once, and that's it. They have to go and then make more sales next month, otherwise they don't get paid. This, you sell something once, you get paid again and again and again and again indefinitely. That's the glory behind it. That's what makes it wonderful.
Exactly, and in typical product creation and product launches, there's a lot involved. There's a whole lot involved in recruiting affiliates and just creating all the systems involved in getting the product out there. And once you get it out there and promote it, and you have this big launch, you make a good sum of money up front maybe, but it's done. When it's done, it's done. This is an evergreen system where you create the product and you can duplicate it over and over and over and just rely on that monthly income. And it doesn't cost anything to get involved with. It's such an easy business.
Yeah.
It's a simple, you need an autoresponder basically, and perhaps a website. I don't even know if you need that. The cost is so minimal, but there's so much potential.
I mean, people have been doing this business model since before the internet was around. So, really, you could go out and do this exact same thing with pieces of 8.5 by 11 paper, walking door to door. It's not the most efficient way of doing it, but it's just proof that regardless of what happens with technology today, regardless of where we are in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, this model, it worked 100 years ago, it works today, it's going to work on 100 years from now, it's not going anywhere. People are always going to want newsletters, they're always going to want information about a community put together in one spot. It's the basis of human social interaction.
Exactly, and even before I met you and learned about your system, I've done very similar systems in the past myself and had great success with them. And finding you and your system again, it's like it opened my eyes and reminded me of the success I had with it. And I still operate several membership sites, but they're higher ticket things, and it takes a lot of work, a lot of effort to provide the content that people want. But with this type of system, it takes very little effort because you're not even having to create your own product. There are ways to find the information that you're going to sell through this type of system that doesn't take your time. It doesn't cost you much at all.
Well, perfect example. I mean,
Go ahead. Yeah.
you've got a $5 newsletter and you love golf and you want to do a newsletter in the golfing market. Well, say you find a really great article or a piece of advice offered by a golf pro on his website, on some obscure website that you found, and that's going to increase somebody's driving range by 50 yards. Well, if your newsletter is $5 and there are 5 really great tips like that, that means that that person only paid $1 to increase their drive by 50 yards to impress the pants off their friends. So it's really, really easy to find value when you have to find a piece of content that's worth $1. And as long as your content solves a problem or makes somebody happy, if you could put a smile on someone's face, they will pay you $1 for that. So
Absolutely.
it's so easy to find this information. You can partner up with people. You can create it yourself if you're already an expert, which is this is a phenomenal platform for selling more expensive items and stuff that's higher value. You can even borrow it. You can buy it online for pennies per page. As long as the information is compiled into a way that's convenient and easy for the person reading it to go through, then it has value.
Right. The other wonderful part about this whole system is that you have a track record. You have customers that you've brought through the system and made successful. I listened to one of your case studies, and I was very impressed by that. But tell me about some of the people that you've trained.
Well, we've had lots of people go through the masterclass. There's one person in particular that was very impressive, and he actually did this completely on his own. He didn't do this with me. This is someone who just bought the passive print system, decided he was going to take action, he was going to make it work, understood the business model behind it, and what he did is he built his newsletter up to $1,000 per month in 3 weeks. $1,000 per month recurring, paying every single month, and he did that in 3 weeks. I thought that was pretty incredible.
That is incredible. It's so easy to pick up and run with and start making money real quickly.
Yeah.
Because you are providing incredible value for the money people are paying you.
It's cheap.
Yeah. It's cheap for you, and it's cheap for them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when people go out and they're willing to easily spend $5 every morning on a coffee and a donut, and they don't get any real benefit from that other than waking up and getting the nice warm donut in the morning. I suppose there's some benefit there. But when people are willing to spend the $5 on things like a coffee and a donut, selling them a $5 newsletter that's going to have a real positive impact on their life is a cup of it's a cup of coffee.
Right. And the beautiful part about it is this is a gold nugget too. You establish a system like this where you have a lot of people paying you small amounts. You're building trust with these people because you're providing real value for their money, and you now have a rock solid base of customers that you can offer other things to, higher ticket items perhaps. But this is a brilliant way to establish a good rock solid base of clients.
It's a fantastic foot in the door strategy. The longer these people continue to pay you the $5 every month, the more indoctrinated into your world they become, the more they believe in you. It's self-justification because these people want to believe that the information that they're buying is valuable, right? Is useful. They're not going to buy information from someone they don't think is worthwhile because that it kind of disqualifies their belief in themselves. It makes them look bad if they're going to buy some bad stuff. So they believe in you. The longer they stay on, the more the more money they give you, but the more they like you as well. And then, like you said, because of that, it makes it a lot easier to sell stuff if you're a consultant, an author, an expert, a pro. So you can put out a little newsletter every month offering bits of advice and then have promotions throughout the month getting these people to sign up for more expensive services. And I do that with a lot of my business clients.
Right. It's a very impressive business model, and it's one that I would feel very confident in offering to my own family members because it's one of the most rock-solid marketing businesses, an online marketing business that I know of, that I've used, and I'm confident in, and I am just very impressed with what Adam has put together here. So I'm excited about it.
Well, thank you very much. One of the things that I like the most about this is that the way that it's set up, because it's not an airy-fairy internet marketing business. It's not like it's a newsletter business. When you tell people, when somebody says, "Hey, what do you do for work?" You don't have to say, "Oh, I do internet marketing," or "I sell stuff online." You could say, "I run a newsletter business. I have a newsletter." People get that. It's something people can understand, and because of that, you can take this out into the real world. I've got people who have had yoga newsletters, who have had workout newsletters, who are going to yoga studios, who are going to gyms and saying, "Hey, I've got this newsletter. Do you mind if I get people to sign up?" And most places are completely okay with this. So it adds an air of legitimacy to it that you don't get with a lot of other online businesses.
That's a great point. It's something you can be proud of and something that's long term. It's not just setting it up and then moving on to something else later. This is
It's a real business.
It's a real business that you establish and you just keep running with it. And there's nothing like waking up in the morning and seeing your PayPal payments coming in from work you did months ago. It's not like you're having to always aggressively sell. You set up the system and let people come to you. They'll start paying you small amounts, and you get hundreds of people doing this, even thousands. And it's just an amazing cash flow. And so, yeah, go ahead, Adam.
We were chatting about this earlier, but that first sale that you get, that's fantastic. The one that you worked your butt off for, you worked so hard to get that first sale. Really, really great feeling. You know what's an even better feeling than that? The sale you get the next month that you didn't have to work your butt off for because it's recurring.
Exactly.
Stuff to look forward to.
Exactly. And, word of mouth, when you have a great service that you're offering, people are going to talk about it and bring more people in too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I am very impressed with what you've put together, and I can't wait to put it into effect for myself. And I want to share this with as many people as I can because I know it's a system that works. So I want to thank you, Adam, for bringing this to my attention again and for putting it all together in such a neat, easy-to-use package. You have videos, you have documents, you have everything somebody needs to get established in this business. Even though it's a very simple business, there are a lot of small techniques that you should learn, and that's what Adam has put together for you. So thanks, Adam.
My pleasure. I was really glad to be here. I love chatting about this stuff. I know what it was like to barely be scraping by, to be really stressed, and not know what it was like to not know if I was going to be able to pay rent by the end of the month. So if I can help anyone get out of that scenario, get out of that situation, and give them a leg up, then it's a good day for me. So thanks for letting me do this interview with you. I'm really glad that we got the chance to chat, and I hope your subscribers like this.
Awesome. I'm sure they will. Okay. Well, we'll call it a day. Thanks so much again. Take care.
Yeah, okay. Ciao.